Okay, and here I'm going to introduce you to Yvonne Sweet, our Pravana artistic educator, and take it away, Yvonne.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to my class. Thanks for joining me today. My name is Yvonne Sweet, and I'm a senior artistic educator, a regional trainer, and a brand expert for Pravana. I have been with Pravana for the last 9 years. I am also a hairstylist behind a chair for the last 37 years. Do not do the math on that, please. But yes, I still work behind the chair, and I do educating on the side as well. So I do love Pravana. I got interested in becoming an educator with Pravana because I had used the product for over 20 years now, but at the time that I started was like 11 years, and I really believe in the product. And I was a salon owner at the time, and I was looking for a great product with good quality and at a good price point, and I found it in Pravana. And at that time, they didn't have as many educators as they do now. So I wanted to share the knowledge that has helped me along the way. I've had to learn a few things, oops, by oops, because I didn't have an educator 20 years ago when I started with Pravana, using Pravana. So here we are. One fun fact, I am from West Palm Beach, Florida. I was born in New York, but I've lived in Florida most of my life. But I'm still a New Yorker at heart, and I love the Yankees. And a fun fact about me is all my educator friends will tell you, I am obsessed with shoes. So I own over 100 pairs of shoes. Yeah, I do. That's me. And I love them, and I'll keep buying them. So anyway, thank you for being here today. Today we're here to talk about our HydraGloss, which was our new Demi-Permanent line, our new baby that came out, that launched a year and a half ago. And it has very much become very multitasking, a little bit of everything that you can use for HydraGloss. So I will start. It is a Demi-Permanent ChromaSilk. It's from our ChromaSilk family. It is Demi-Permanent. Before I do start with that, I think I should go over our whole portfolio, just so you know that Pravana has a whole full line of different things. We have permanent color, we have demi-permanent color, we have our semi-permanent color, which is our vivids. We have different toning options with platinum express tones, platinum toners and express tones. We also have 3 different lighteners that we have. We have a Pure Light Power Lightener that lifts 7 lifts of color. We have the Pure Light Ultra that lifts 9 levels of color. And we have our Pure Light Blonding Cream, which is our more gentle lightener that we always recommend on, hair that's a little more compromised, and it lifts to 9 levels of lift. We have 5 different developers: 0 lift, 240 lift, 40 volume, and we have our new color hair collection that we launched just a month ago. And if you haven't tried it, you must try it out. We have a wide selection of it, and I will go over that a little bit later if we have a little time at the end. But we are here to talk about our HydraGloss, ChromaSilk HydraGloss Demi-Permanent line. Like I said, it is our Demi-Permanent line. It's ammonia-free. It delivers twice the shine. It is very hydrating and healthy for the hair. I use it for different options. I love HydraGloss. It's a gelish color, which is what I like about it. The consistency is a very gelish, does non-drip type of color. And if we're always looking for everything that is kind of clean and neat as we work, because as hairstylists, sometimes we can be messy, me included. So I like the fact that it doesn't drip, and it's very clean, and it glides very nicely on the hair. Okay. When we launched, we had 24 shades. Now we have launched an additional 5 shades, which I will go over in a little bit. So now we do have 29 intermixable shades that you can mix within each other to customize a formula however you would like. And you can also use clear, clear could be used to help dilute a color, make it a more pastel or brighter, or you can use it by itself as a shine treatment, which I love using as well. For sometimes we just need to refresh a little bit and give it a little extra shine when it feels a little dull. So it will give it extra shine. And it is very hydrating, and I love the scent that it has. I like good smelling stuff, as most of you probably do. So I do encourage, I do love that, using it for that purpose too. Okay, we have many options that you can use for our HydraGloss. We can use it as a gray blending. We can use it as a color replenishing. You can use it as an all over color shine to just give it gloss with the same formula. You have a level of color, or again, with the clear alone, you can use it just as a shine treatment, as a standalone shine treatment, and you can charge a little extra behind a chair, which is good as a little shine treatment, and you can get a little extra money out of it, you know, because as hairstylists, we always have to look for a way to grow. Okay, we can also use it as a color balancing, color replenishing. I have a pro tip. I like to use permanent, my clients that use permanent color, I will use permanent color on the roots, and then I will mix whatever the formula is in a HydraGloss, and I will run it from mid shafts to ends so that it gives it the replenishing of color with the hydration, and it's Demi-Permanent, no ammonia, so it's healthier for the hair. I love that option because before I used to run the color through the ends, and being permanent color, it's a little more, it'll compromise the hair a little bit more. So having the option to Demi-Permanent with a Demi-Permanent line, it actually will, it's nice that it could keep it healthier and hydrating. And all my clients that I've switched that, just that little simple thing for my clients that are permanent color, they actually have noticed the difference, and I noticed the difference in their hair. And it does last up to 30 shampoos when you're using it with our shampoo and conditioner system of PRAVANA, which I'll go into a little bit later. So I will tell you that I have used many things along the way, and I am so in love with HydraGloss. I've noticed the results that it actually does stay true to tone and the color and the hair, and I actually really I was really surprised by that, because a lot of times we get a lot of fadage here in Florida, in West Palm Beach, sunny Florida. People are at the beach, people are out in the sun, and I was surprised how well it actually maintains color in the hair. So that is actually another thing that I would say as a pro tip, that if you're looking for something that helps benefit and long lasting, again, it's always going to depend on how people are treating their own hair at home. How many of you go to a salon, your stylist, your client comes in, they get the hair colored, and then 2 weeks later they're, oh, my hair didn't take well, or it's not staying. They have all these excuses why it's not staying, and usually it's because they are not taking care of it properly at home. I always ask them what type of shampoo and conditioner they use. I ask them, do they swim? Are they out in the sun? Do they shampoo their hair every day? There are so many reasons why clients have these situations. And sometimes we have to get to the root of that. And I like asking them a lot of questions because of that, because sometimes it's not what we're doing, it's how they are treating their hair at home. So that is a very good thing that I always like to remind my clients, that if they're going to have certain colors, they have to be able to make sure they take care of it and maintain it at home. Okay, because what is it if you do, what does it matter if you're doing it and you're taking care of it for 2 hours while they're in the salon, and then at home they don't go and take care of it to have longevity in their hair color. So I definitely make sure that I tell them a lot. I usually try to sell them our shampoo and conditioner, whatever suits them best, so that they can help maintain the longevity of their color. Okay, I like also to use it as a toning option. We can tone the highlights with it. We can create low lights in between highlights with it. We can also do shadow root or even a tap root for people who want to maintain a lower maintenance in their blonde. So you can soften that root up a little bit with the HydraGloss. And that's actually, I really, 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 really enjoy doing that kind of stuff, because we do have a lot of people that don't want to be in the salon all the time. I'm sure you have a lot of those as well. Does anybody have any questions so far? Please feel free to type in the on the computer, and Miss Kathleen, my boss lady, will let me know, and I can answer that question for you. Feel free to ask any question. No question is a bad question. We all have many questions, and sometimes it's just something, you know, easy to ask. And sometimes people are embarrassed to, but don't be, okay? I'm here to answer and help you out any way I can. So how many of you have tried HydraGloss? Just curious. Of all you that are here. Kathleen's gonna be my eyes because I can't look at the computer while I'm talking. So I was just curious to know and have a little feedback of what your experience has been with HydraGloss, if you have had any so far, okay? So feel free to type in. It might take a few minutes, so I will wait a little few minutes, or I'll just continue, and then Kathleen will let me know if we need to stop and answer a question, okay? So far, if you have any questions, please feel free. If I say something that you're not understanding, please feel free to ask again so that I can explain it a little better. We also have a gray coverage. HydraGloss is a great option for people who don't want to have permanent color. So gray blending is a great option for them with HydraGloss. It only does cover up to 50% of gray coverage. What my pro tip is, my experience behind a chair, is that on the lower levels of color, I feel that I get a lot of coverage, considering it's just a demi-permanent. And I feel that the longevity is much greater than I expected it to be for a demi-permanent. So do not be afraid to even use it as a demi-permanent for those people who want to be permanent, or they have allergies, because a lot of people have, you know, specific scalp allergies or something like that. So great, HydraGloss has been a very good option for that, okay? I have a few clients that have switched from permanent to demi-permanent, and it has really worked much better than I expected it. So don't be afraid to do that either. And I also like on my clients that are gray, that do want to keep their gray, but they're looking to have like a few like low lights to kind of break up the gray. I use a HydraGloss as a low lighting option for them. It actually, like, by using a darker color like a 1T or a 3NT on the hair shaft that's low lights, it actually creates more dimension in the hair, and it actually is amazing, as well as with highlights. That's a good way to add dimension with the low lighting in between the foils with HydraGloss. Not to mention the actual shine that it actually gives those highlights, because, you know, as hair is blonde and it's lighter, it kind of gets a little dull. And I find that I've seen a lot of shine coming through and a lot of more healthy hydration in the hair. Okay, so our mixing ratios. Our mixing ratio is 1:1, which is 1 part HydraGloss to 1 part zero developer only. Why do we only use zero developer when mixing with HydraGloss? Can anybody answer that for me? I want somebody to ask me questions, please. Come on in. Out of our HydraGloss, I will tell you, out of our whole PRAVANA collection, our portfolio, this is the only product that's mixed 1:1. Everybody understand that? This is mixed 1:1. You can mix it in a non-metallic bowl, or you can apply it with an applicator bottle as well, which is a great option if you're just like to be easy with your applicator bottle. I will tell you as a pro tip that I do find that mixing it in a bowl and applying from the bowl, I actually get more out of the product. Sometimes in the applicator bowl, because it's a gelish consistency, it tends to be harder to squeeze out of that bottle sometimes. But it's so easy to just apply it with a brush. And I find that a little bit goes a long, long way. I love when I'm trying to do like a color melt with HydraGloss. It actually so glides so easily in the hair. I absolutely love it. You will like the consistency if you have not tried it. Has anybody tried HydraGloss? I want some questions, please.
Yes, we have some responses. We have some people who are new to HydraGloss, some people who are all Pravana in their salon, and they did respond to your question. The reason why I use Zero Lift Developer is because it's a no lift, deposit only, Demi-Permanent color.
Yay, that's the answer I was looking for, because yes, I teach a lot of classes, so I've been asked a lot, oh, can I use HydraGloss with 10 volume? Absolutely not. It was not made for that. And the reason why is what the person answered is that it is a deposit only color. If you're looking for a lift, you're not, this HydraGloss is not going to do that for you. It was not made for that, okay? It was made to just deposit color. And, you know, so that's what I like to explain. And again, it's always mixed 1-to-1 ratio. And I love to say that because most, our ChromaSilk, as we know, those of you that may be familiar with our permanent line, ChromaSilk permanent line is mixed 1-to-1.5 ratio. So I just want to make sure even our express tones and platinum toners are mixed 1-to-1.5. And I don't want that to be confused. HydraGloss is always only going to be 1-to-1 ratio, okay? Processing time is up to 20 minutes. What does up to 20 minutes mean? It means you don't have to leave it on 20 minutes. It depends what you're looking for. And the reason why we say that is because HydraGloss is a, oh my goodness, I lost my train of thought. It's a progressive color. So your progressive color, the longer you leave it on, the darker results you're going to achieve in the hair. So if you're looking to be, someone is a 4N and they want to be a 4N and they want to be as dark as possible, you absolutely want to leave it 20 minutes. But if you're toning and you're using whatever color you choose as your shade, sometimes you don't have to leave it the full 20 minutes. Obviously, as you know, it's a progressive color. So depending what you're looking to be, obviously, you leave it less time if you want a softer shade of it. If you're looking to be as vibrant and as deep as possible, absolutely leave it 20 minutes, okay? It's a progressive color. Always remember that. I definitely like to make sure I tell you that because it is very important that you understand the difference between 5 and 20 minutes, and I will go into that and a little bit with you. I'll show you some swatching with that shows that. So we also have options to apply on damp hair or on dry hair. Okay, keeping that in mind, always understand that when you apply it on dry hair, it's going to absorb more color. So you're going to get darker results quicker. Okay, so if you're not looking to be super dark, make sure you remember that it's better to apply on damp hair for that option. If you are applying on too wet of hair, then you're not going to get the results that you could. You might not get the right shade because if the hair is too wet as well, it doesn't absorb as well because it has some water and moisture in the hair with the water, that being wet, and then you will get lighter results. So that keep in mind as well. If you are applying on wet hair, then you might want to leave it a little longer, or you might need to dampen, towel dry that hair, which is what I would recommend, and then apply your HydraGloss color on top, okay? And then you still can decide how much time you want to process it for. I always like to say that because I have seen in my own experience that I have gotten different results because I've applied it on dark hair, on wet hair, or on dry hair as well. Not dark hair, dry hair. So when I'm mixing it for low light option in between highlights, a pro tip of mine is I probably will go a shade lighter than I actually want if I'm looking for darker shades, because it's going to be left longer because you're working with the foils in between and you have to let those foils process. So if I was looking for a level 5 as an end result, I might try to put it with a 6, because I know it absorbs a lot. Okay, that's just a pro tip of mine that I've experienced behind a chair myself, which is what I love to be able to give you, not only what Pravana has taught me and give you that knowledge that I love to share, but also the experience with the product behind the chair. Sometimes it's very different than what you learn sometimes, and you don't know until you feel it out and try it out. So I want to share these things with you because nobody told me these things when I was starting with Pravana a long time ago, because we didn't have the educators that we have now. So please always take advantage of any virtual classes what we have that we are providing for you all for free, because it's a way to get knowledge on how to use a product, which will help you be more successful behind a chair. Okay. So I want to,
Yvonne, we have a question that's related to what you're talking about.
okay.
It's Sydney asked, when you're using darker colors, 1NT to 5NT for lowlights, do they grab more if you're doing highlights and lowlights at the same time? She's been highlighting and then going back in with lowlights because I'm not sure if the darker colors would go darker if left on for longer than 20 minutes.
Yes, so hi Sydney, thank you for asking that question. That's a great question. She is asking if you were to be low lighting and you're using levels 1 to 5, do you want to, if I'm understanding, you're asking me if you would want to use the same shade that you're looking for or go a little bit lighter, right? If I think you're asking
Yes, she's
that
been
question.
highlighting and then going back in with low lights because she's afraid the colors might go too dark if she leaves them on longer than 20 minutes. So
Yes,
kind of what you
I
were
absolutely
speaking to.
think that's a great plan. Again, because if you're applying between foils, your hair is, first of all, it's dry. And what did we talk about? That will absorb right away more. And darker colors tend to absorb more as well. So definitely either go, if I'm doing foils and trying to work at the same time, then I will go a shade or two lighter that I want, or I would do what you're saying, do your foils and then go back and apply the color, the shade that you want desired after you've already put on the foils. Because yes, it's a progressive color as well. So, you know, if you leave it on the whole time you're foiling, we've already left it probably more than 20 minutes. So it's definitely going to get way too dark. So yes, that's a great question. And absolutely, I think you have to be very cautious, especially with the lower levels of color. Did I answer your question, Sydney? Just want to make sure I answered it correctly. Yeah, okay.
Yep, they said yes, thank you.
Okay, good. I'm glad.
One other question that's off topic that you could just answer now while we're in the middle here is when you mentioned the cream lightener, is that able to be used on scalp?
Yes, all 3 of our lighteners can be used on and off scalp. Obviously, we never recommend more than 20 volume on the scalp. So yes, all 3 are options you can use on and off scalp. Our cream lightener, our blonding cream, is a great option for hair that is, since it has been compromised and you need more delicate care, it needs more delicate care. So it's a more gentle of all our 3 lighteners. Even though it still lifts 9 levels of lift, understanding that the power of what we use. So like if you used our cream lightener with 0 volume or 40 volume, you can still achieve 9 levels of lift, because the power is not in the developer. Our power is in our lightener. So do understand that you can still get 9 levels of lift if you were to use 0 or if you were to use 40. It's just might take longer with using 0. But if you have a hair that is more compromised and you want to be more careful, you may not want to use, you know, a high developer, you know, even 20, I would use 10, or I would use a zero lift, okay? Does that answer your question? Just want to make sure.
Yes, perfectly, Crystal said.
Okay, great. So the other thing I love about HydraGloss, you can use it as customized colors. You can create anything you want with our HydraGloss. Anything you want with our HydraGloss, because they're all intermixable. Okay, I will go now with what our I have this little also HydraGloss that we have. These were our original 24 shades. And in their families, we had 8, now we have 9 because of our new collection coming in. So we have 9 family HydraGloss family tones, family of tones, okay? We have neutrals, which is our NTs. They're neutral base, which allows final results to be more balanced. One thing I will explain to you, and I made a little chart here because I want to so that you all understand visually. Okay, HydraGloss is a balanced color. Why is it balanced? It's balanced because we use 3 parts yellow, 2 parts red, and 1 part blue, which creates a balanced color. Does everybody understand that? I just want to give you this little chart. I worked on it because it's I love to show a visual of this, because when you see what is actually in our colors, you understand why it's a more balanced, because obviously we know blue is a dominant color. So if our naturals, we have 3 parts blue on our permanent color line. Our naturals are 3 parts blue, 2 parts yellow, 3 parts, 3 parts blue, 1 part red, 1 part yellow, and 2 parts red. What happens with that? What happens when you have more blue? Blue dominates. That's why our naturals are a slightly blue base. Okay, it's 1 part, and here we did the opposite so that we can create warmer results. We created it to be 3 parts yellow, 2 parts red, and 1 part blue, but it's actually a more balanced, because the 3 yellow and the 2 red balance out the blue. Do we understand that? Does everybody understand that? That is why we have a more blended tones with HydraGloss. And it's easy to achieve warmer results by mixing some copper or some red. And if you're looking to have more cooler than the balance, then you would use your ashes, or you would use your beige, which have a different, you know, tone. Like the ash beige is ash blue violet. That's your base, you know, your green, blue, violet, and it neutralizes warmth. So in that case, if you're trying to be more cooler, you would use, that would be more of your option. If you're using a blue, then the blue is going to counteract more orange, because blue counteracts orange, and that in that case you would use your a blue base. If you were looking for a smoky result, which is a silver has more intense blue with a hint of ash and violet in it. So in that case, you get more of the neutralizing of brassiness and creating like more of a silvery, ashy look. Okay. I love the smokies, as I was saying earlier, if you were doing a low light option, because in between the foils and the low lights, I mean, if you're foiling someone who's all gray and wants more dimension by adding darker, the smoky is a good option, the smoke series, because it has more of that intense violet, ashy violet, and it will create more of your grayish dimension in the gray, which I love that. I love that look, okay? For those people that are liking to want to be more natural now, but still want a little more dimension in their gray. The beige series has the blue violets, as we know, that balances, and it's more of a soft tone, more blended tones, because it has the blue and violet. Okay, the red obviously is our red. That's more intensified, and it's a very vibrant vibrant color. I will tell you a pro tip. The reds and our coppers in our HydraGloss are very, very intense. So a little bit goes a long way. So if you're looking to have a little copper, but you don't want to be really like fiery copper or a fiery red, you definitely want to mix it either with clear or with one of the naturals to kind of balance it and tone it down a little bit. But that's where you have your options to customize whatever you want with HydraGloss. I love that. Our copper reds have the golden and it has the copper in it as well. And those bases will always have more fiery results as well. So you'll have to be real careful if you don't want to be too coppery. But if you do, which some people do, that's a great option by itself. The golden, our new ones are our golden beige. So our golden beige, GB, I'm sorry, not the gold by itself is our new shades, which I will go over the 5 new shades. But our golden beige is the gold and blue violet, which you get a balance of gold and blue violet. Think about that. Gold and blue violet, you think a warm and a cool. So that just blends those two colors in and just creates this like, it's just like a beautiful, like muted warmth, not too warm, but not too cool. I love that. I love our ABVs. That's one of my favorite. The GBVs are one of my favorite, and the BVs as well. Our golds are now, our gold has the more intensified gold pigment in it. And you can use the clear as well. Clear has no pigment. And again, clear can be used by itself, or you can use the clear to dilute any of the colors to make it less bright, like our reds and our copper. And what I did so that I could show you a difference of 2 things. One is, I'm going to put this really close. So here's a 5S by itself. This is the actual color. And then I use 5S with clear. I use 10 grams of clear to 1 gram of silver, 5S. And see how much lighter that color, and this lighting is not great. Let me see if I can put the lighting here so you can see it a little better. If you notice how much it mutes that ash, that dark tone, and just makes it lighter. And you can also, another option you have, because I left those processing for 20 minutes, you could actually process that 5S and clear for 5 minutes just to get this little soft silvery tone. It's very pretty as a toner. And the other option I did with my swatching is I did a 3R and a 3R with 5 minutes process and 20 minutes process. And I know it's hard to see it here, but you will see the difference. Can you tell the difference? Can you all see the difference between processing 5 minutes and 20 minutes with just the same shade?
Yes,
What do you
great
think?
visual is your comment.
What is it?
They said great visual. They can
Yes.
all see.
I love visual because I'm big visual, and most hairstylists, we are very visual. So I always like to show this because I'm amazed that's how progressive our colors are. Same shade, 5 minutes and 20 minutes. And that goes with all our shades. You can customize it. So I love to show this visual because it really makes a big difference to understand. It helps you understand the progressiveness of this color and how well it grabs, it absorbs in the hair. Does anybody have any questions about any of this that I shared?
We have one question from Crystal. When you only process for 5 minutes, will it hold for the same length of time?
Well, I obviously don't believe it will, because when you're working with a lighter color, not that it won't last, but because it starts out lighter, it fades out lighter, right? If you were using the same at 20 minutes and it fades out, even if it was the same amount of days fading, you're still going to have more out of the darker. So I would say that you will see more soft and pastel-y on the lighter color as it's fading out. Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yes, very good. And we have kind of a related question. Bianca wants to know, how long would she leave the 5S with clear on for a smoky blonde?
5 minutes. For that smoky, like soft, like in a toning option for highlights. 5 minutes of that, or even between 5 and 10. to get it just a little more depth of the silver. But it also would depend what level of color I'm putting it on. Okay, so one thing I do want to give people, because when people ask me for formulas and I like to share formulas, it's hard to say a formula because you got to know the canvas that you're working on, correct? Do we agree that? Do we agree that we need to know the canvas that we're working on? In other words, if you're working on a level 5, or I mean a level 9, or if you're working on a level 8 or a level 10, you're working with 3 different canvases. So you have to customize according to the level you're working with, which is a very, very important thing I love to tell people, because that it makes a difference. It's same as when we do vivids colors. When we lighten, we have to know what level we lightened at to know if what shade you're going to create, what results you're going to get with that vivids. So it's very important to understand what your canvas is to start with, so you know what you're going to customize your formula for. Okay, do we understand that? Yay? Yes?
Yeah.
No?
I think that was a good explanation.
Yes. I'd like to remind you all that clear by itself is a stand-up treatment. And I also sometimes, when I do color and my client is dark already and she really doesn't need replenishing of color, I will still maybe put clear just to give her a little shine. And I tell her, I say, hey, you know what? I think your color looks great, but let's give it some shine, and we'll give it extra hydration and shine by putting the clear alone. And they really, really like that. So I always like to, make them feel like, hey, I'm doing a little extra, something special. Okay. So our new shades, we have 5 new shades that we came into our portfolio just a couple months ago. It's the 9.3 and the 7.3, which is a 9G and a 7G. We have the 634, which is a 6GC, which is a dark golden copper blonde. We have our 7.4, which is a copper, 7 copper, blonde, and then our 3.6, which is our 3R, which is our dark red brown, which is a very pretty color. I want to show you my little calico inspired mannequin. By the way, I didn't introduce, this is Susie, and that one over there is Lola. This is Lola and this is Susie. I name all my mannequins, my babies. I love them because they don't talk back to me. All right, so here I wanted to show you, I created all these with our new colors. So this one up here is our 9 copper, okay? I mean our 7 copper, 7C copper. This one here, I'm gonna put this light here a little bit more. Oh, maybe that's too much. Okay, yeah. So this one here, this one is our 3R, okay? This one here is our 9C. And this one back here, I think what I did here, let me show you, because this one is our 5R, but I added a little bit of clear on that one. So look at how many different shades you can create, either by itself or adding clear with it, or even you can mix the copper and a little bit of gold together. So it mutes the copper a little bit. So you can just get such beautiful tones, I love mixing things because I always like to let my clients think that I'm making these extravagant formulas. I'm like, I'm going to mix you something new and different today. And they love me, they think you're doing something, and you're just mixing a little bit of 2 different tonal families together, and you can create such beautiful things. Again, you got to always know what you're working with. But do we have any questions about that? Do we understand all this? I want to give you one explanation that I didn't know right at the beginning, but I learned that and I love. Okay, so when you see the boxes for all our colors, always in the back, you're going to see, this is HydraGloss though. This one will show you, I'll have to go really close. It says 1 to 1. That's your mixing ratio. And this is the name of the color underneath. Every box will have your mixing ratio. So if you didn't even remember what I talked about today, you can look at the box and the box is going to tell you. Along with our little color Bible, PRAVANA Bible color book. Everything that I talk about, everything that we mix, everything that we use, look at our lighteners, our high lifts, everything. It shows you in the back how to mix it, which way you can use it, and how many levels of lift. So everything I spoke about today, if you forgot everything I spoke about today, you can go back to this little baby book and it gives you all our information. It will give you also our tonal family. It also gives you all the information of any of our permanent colors, everything. So always know that this swatch book, if you don't have it, it's a good way to get it. It's good to get it. And a good way to get it is if you're signed up with PRAVANA Perks, which I hope you all are. But I will tell you that in 1 minute. Let me just finish before I lose my train of thought. So when you see, in this case, this is a 6 capital G and a lowercase c. When you see a first capital, only one capital, and there's 2 letters, the first letter is your primary, indicates your primary tone in this family. So in this case, we have a level 6 with a gold copper. But your primary tone in this is your gold. So that's why this color, remember how I said you could mix the copper and gold? Well, we created that with the level 6. So, but you still have primarily gold in this, okay? It's 70% of that gold and 30% of that copper. Do we understand that? Does everybody understand that? Because everything in our color line always is gonna have those letters, and it's always gonna represent, if there's 2 letters, the first one, if it's the capital on the first one. And the second one, if it's a lowercase, it's gonna be not as much. It's gonna be more, 70 to 30. Okay? If you have a number and just a lowercase letter, like this one, it's going to be a sheer color. Okay? And what does that mean? What does it mean when it's sheer? A color is sheer. Can somebody answer that for me? Okay, so sheer just makes it more, it's a translucent look. So this being a level 10 and B, which is, what is a B? Can somebody tell me what B is in our family? Anybody listening to me today?
Mark said it's a transparent shade, and Linda said a B means blue, and so did Bianca.
Yeah, the B is blue, and the transparent or translucent or is correct. You know, all those words mean sheer. It's a softer translucent color. So this is a very beautiful toning option. But so you know, when you see one lowercase alone by itself, it's actually a sheer color. If you see like 8BV, if you see 2 capital letters, that means that this is a blended tone of blue, in this case, blue and violet. So it's a blended tone of those 2 tones together. So it's an even blended tone. Means that one doesn't dominate the other. They're both the same amount of each and the same color. I love that. I love to give that explanation because a lot of people have asked me, why is there capital letters and why is there not? And these are the reasons why. So I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that to you. Does anybody have any questions about that? Do we understand that?
I think we're good with that.
Excuse me?
I think we're good with that.
Awesome. So I'm going to share some favorite formulas because somebody asks always about formulas. I will tell you again, whatever formula I'm giving you, it's always going to be based with what your canvas is. And that's why I wanted to make sure I said that again. But my favorites of all my HydraGloss, I love the ABV, the 10 ABV. I love the BV, our blue violets. I do want to explain one thing about our blue violets, our BVs, because usually you think blue violet on the color wheel should be more on the blue side. But in this case, I want to put this really close. This is our BV. It actually lands a little bit on the violet, not so much on the blue. So what does that mean? Does somebody answer me why? Would it mean if the color blue violet, the BVs land a little bit more on the violet? What does that mean? Somebody know that answer? Can somebody answer that for me? So I'm going to answer it because it is kind of tricky. Because it's blue violet, we think it should be more blue, like a little bit on the cooler, but actually because it lands on the violet more, it actually is a little warmer. So if you do use our permanent lines and you know our BVs, our beige series is actually a lot cooler. But in our HydraGloss, our BVs land a little bit more on the warmer side. So keep that in mind if you're using BVs in the HydraGloss. They're going to be a little slight warmer than you would if you know our 922, the 222 series, the 22 series, and our permanent line is a little bit cooler. The HydraGloss on BVs is a little bit has a little more warmth to it. Still cool, but it has a little more warmth. Do we understand that? Are we following me with that? So with that being said, I do like, I tried this formula one time on a client. It was a soft coppery red. I loved the way it looked. She started with like a level 7. So again, there's a little bit of warmth in there. And I used a 6 GBV with a 7 CR. And that created a soft coppery red. And I love that. That was a beautiful color. Again, remember what you start with. If I had a level 8, that color is going to be brighter, okay? But on a level 7, it created this coppery, but still deep and warm, and it was beautiful. So that's a formula that I do love. And again, always remember, when you're mixing, how do we mix our HydraGloss? I want somebody to answer me. How do we mix our HydraGloss?
And Linda said 1-to-1.
Yay. Thank you, Linda. That's a great answer. Yes, 1-to-1. I always like to remind everybody of that so there's no confusion on our HydraGloss mixing ratios because it's the only one in our color family, that's mixed 1-to-1. Okay, so another good formula I like for a toning option on someone who's super blonde, like a level 9 or even a level 10, is a 10 NT with a 9 GBV. Okay, that creates, especially on a level 10, like this icy blonde. It's not like silver, but it's a cool blonde and it's a really pretty tone. I really like that tone. But again, you have to have a high level. You got to use that with a higher level. If you're using it on someone who's a level 8, you're going to get warmer results. Okay, so always keep that in mind. I like this formula that I used on a client who she wanted more of a balayage natural look. So she wanted not have to color her hair every 4 weeks. So she didn't want to be a permanent, but she wanted it a little bit darker on her roots because she was a little lighter. So I created a 4 GB, which is a gold blue violet, gold blue violet. And then I mixed it with 7 natural, okay? And the NT, and it created, the 4 GB on the shadow root, like on the root. And then on the highlights, because I did a few balayage on her, I put 7 NT. So she had this warm, soft, not super blonde, but sun-kissed, and it looked really, really pretty on her hair. Okay, but I highlighted her first, the balayaged it first, and then I went back and toned that, and then put the HydraGloss on the base. Okay, anybody have any questions about that?
They are very interested. They wanted to have the formulas in the chat. I've been taking notes. I'm going to add them
Okay.
there.
Awesome. And if you want, I wrote those down because I did not want to forget them. And so I can do this and you guys could take a picture. Look,
Oh, perfect.
you guys can take a picture of that. that kind of gives you my formulas. Always remember, you got to know your canvas, but that kind of gives you an idea. 7CR can be used as a filler. If you are trying to go darker on someone that's got no pigment in their hair, like very faded blonde, and they're going to be darker in the fall, 7CR is a good option to fill the hair. So I like to say that to everybody because that's a big thing. We need to add warmth when we know there's no pigment. There's no, because when someone has no pigment in their hair, they have lost all warmth in it. And then if they're wanting to go lower and a lower level, darker, and you do not put some warmth, extra warmth in there, what's going to happen to that color? It's going to be mousy. It's not going to be deep. So that's why I wanted to make sure I made that comment as well. Okay, so does anybody have any questions about anything I spoke about today? Anybody have any questions?
Linda had a general question. She's new behind the chair and she wants to application tips, speed up her application so her toning is more even.
So her toning is more even?
Yeah, what's the best application so that she's getting even toning?
I like to section and apply it sectionally on the hair. If you're working with light hair and you have a formula that you know is gonna take too fast, I would suggest to put clear with it so that you have more time to work with that color, so you're not rushing, okay? What I do, I section the hair, and if it's someone with super long hair, I will start in the back and then run my way forward and maybe have to rinse the back out. If, again, I always think that I like to use clear when I know I have those situations where I think it's going to take too fast, so that I don't have to feel like I'm rushed. But if you are, for whatever reason, always know that I would start applying in the back section by section. And then now, if you're trying to create depth on the root, dimension on the root, and then lighter on the ends, I would apply all the ends, but what happens is when you're doing, remember we're progressive color. So if you're kind of doing color blending, you have to apply and blend at the same time. Don't apply all over and then go back and blend, because that took too fast there. So I would, if I'm trying to blend two different colors, or I'm even trying to blend the ends that are already blonde and I want to add a little root, dark shadow root to the roots, I will take shadow root and then just blend a little bit at the same time that I apply, so that that color develops and process it on the shaft of the hair at the same time. Because if not, if you wait too long, then you went back to try to do it, it will stay like a mark, darker line of demarcation on the root, okay? So you want to kind of work as you go, blend as you go. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, great tips.
Okay.
Great tips. Bianca had a question. She wants to know if you can go back to how she would get a swatch book from Pravana Perks.
Yep, that was my next thing I was going to talk about. So two things I want to talk about. If you're not registered for Pravana.com, please go on there and register your license. It's a beautiful tool. There's we just launched a new color certification, online certification that just launched in March. And if you take that color online class, not only are you going to learn all the knowledge that you need to know about Pravana, you're going to get this beautiful color certification mailed to your house, certificate that you can display in your salon and show everybody that, oh, I'm a colorist and I got a little certification. Clients always love to see that we're keeping up with our education. And that is a great way to do it. Go on Pravana.com, register your license. It'll prompt you to do your color certification. You also can do any new launches we have. We have University, Pravana University, where our collective team always putting techniques and new stuff that they do, and that's a good way to get more information and more knowledge. And we have a color comparison chart. If you're trying to switch from another line to Pravana, that's a good option because you can type in your formula from another brand and we can give it to you in Pravana. That's a great tool. And for the answer to the question for the person who asked how we can get a swatch book. So we launched a loyalty program last year. It's called Pravana Perks. So you go on pravanaperks.com. You will register, and you need to register to distributors that you work, where you purchase your products. It gives you two options, two different distributors that you can apply. And when you register, you do have to have your account number for those distributors on there. What we do is for every dollar you spend with Pravana, purchasing Pravana, each quarter, we're going to give you perks, reward points back to you that you can use to purchase online anything you want. We have over 800 products we can use, but one thing that's on there is this beautiful swatch book. Because right now, the only way you can get this swatch book is either doing that, or if you purchase our intro kit, our intro Pravana intro kit, that you can, if you purchase $1,000 or more of products, you can get your kit. Intro includes a swatch book, and you can also get rewards for maybe a color class, private class in your salon as well. So you got to talk to your local distributors to see what they have available for you. But right now, that's the only way you can get these swatch books. Okay. So those are my two options that I wanted to make sure I said to you.
Ivana, I'm just going to insert. There's also one other option. We have salonery.com.
Oh, yes.
You
Okay.
can purchase a swatch book there, and someone asked they're missing a swatch card from their swatch book. You can also purchase recent swatch cards there. So for our recent launches, which would be our newest HydraGloss shades, our newest platinum toners, for anything older than that, we recommend that you get a fresh book and start fresh.
Yes. Yes. And I really love our new book because, again, it has everything that I talked about today, plus everything on our permanent line. Everything is in there. So anytime you forget anything, it's on there. Okay. Follow us on social media. We are on Instagram. We are on Facebook. You guys can follow me. I have an Instagram page. It's called Pravana Hair by, and my name is spelled Yvonne. So Pravana Hair by Yvonne. If you ever have any questions, feel free to DM me and I will answer your questions, or I will find out an answer for you if I don't have one. Do you guys did you like the class today? Give me a hands up, thumbs up, yay, hearts, whatever you want. Heart.
Great job.
Like
Thank you.
me. And any other questions you guys have? Does anybody have a question for me?
You are the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. What was an aha moment? Can somebody tell me something? They learned something today that they did not know? Or how excited are you to try out our new HydraGloss if you have not tried it? I want somebody to tell me something. Did you learn something you did not know about HydraGloss if you've already been using HydraGloss?
Excited to try it out on my blondes.
Yes.
Great
Yay.
education. Love the color formulas you shared.
Yay. Well,
Bianca wants to know, how mixable are they?
how mixable?
How mixable are the HydraGloss? Like, how well do they mix together?
Oh, shoot. I wanted to show you the consistency of that. So let me just show you real quick. We have 1 minute, but I wanted to show you, look at this. Watch. See how easy that comes out? It's a very gelish, it's in a tube, but it's very gelish formula. So let's say I didn't mix it with a thing, but let's say you're mixing with your zero lift and you were to put it together. I would normally be using the scale without, but because I was trying to show you how it looks, but always scale your products. But this is how it looks. I'm going to show you. Look. Does everybody see that?
Yes.
See, it's not drip. It's not dripping. It's very creamy and smooth and gelish. It looks like a gel. A soft gel though, not like a hard gel, and that it doesn't drip. That's my favorite part. That is my favorite. So that is it. It's scent. Smells so good as well. I don't know if you've ever, I like good smelling stuff, so I like that the hair smells good once I shampoo it out. Okay.
We are at the end here, but Celeste said, do they blend nicely when you're doing a root smudge?
Yes, they do. But again, remember what I said. If you're doing a root smudge and you want to blend a little bit, blend as you apply. Like apply a little section, smudge right then and there so that you don't get that harsh line. Especially if you're going with a dark. But if you're doing a soft smudge, it's easy to apply and just smudge a little bit as you're applying there. Thank you, Celeste, for that question. That's a great question. All of you had great questions, and I appreciate your time with me, taking your time out of your day. I know it's hard on a day off to be able to be here with me for an hour, but I'm glad I was able to share some Pravana love with you. And if you ever have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. We also have a Pravana hotline. It's not open 24 hours, but Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, I believe. And it's 855 Pravana. So if you ever run into an emergency, you can reach out to hotline Pravana. 855 Pravana is the hotline number as well. But always feel free to reach out to me. I always try to share new products, new information, a little formulas here and there on my Instagram page as well. And Pravana.com always has on Instagram all their beautiful artists that we have that create formulas. Okay.
Thank you, Yvonne. I'm going to stop recording now. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And we'll see you next week for some curls and coils with Timbo Mack. Hope you can join us.
Yes, he's amazing. Thank you all for being here. Love you all. Thank you.